Hi everyone, I'm Neha, and welcome to our first episode of Indian Women's Circle presents Tea with Neha, heartfelt conversations and helpful information. As you all probably know my love for tea, I thought why not have a conversation with other women on our group who are also expert in their fields and share some helpful information. So here we are with our first series. It's called the New Immigrant Series, where I will be inviting other women who are experts in their field and they are willing to share some key information based on their experience and profession with all of us. And at the same time, share some of their personal experiences as a woman. Today, I have with me Jyoti Shamnani, and welcome Jyoti. Jyoti is an established realtor and she also possesses around 21 years of experience as an HR professional. She is also an old member of our group, and many of you probably know her already. So, with all my heart and tea, I welcome you today to my first episode. And let's get started with our heartfelt conversations. So, would you be able to share with me one of your key turning points in life, being a mom of three beautiful daughters, being in living in different countries, and then finally in Canada? I would just love to hear from you.
Well, thank you so much for giving me this chance, Neha. I'm really glad to be here and to be able to connect with all you lovely women out there. When you say turning point, I would say coming to Canada is my turning point because we got the news of the baby and our landing papers together, and we were in dilemma. I had twin pregnancy with complications where we lost one of our babies, but I'm glad that we decided to come to Canada and have the baby here. The healthcare system and the healthcare professionals, they made sure that the pregnancy and delivery was as smooth as possible.
Oh my gosh, like that is super heartfelt and like incredible decision, right? Like being in such a situation, and honestly, like I cannot even imagine what you must have gone through with the loss of a baby. Like it's so mentally affecting situation. So honestly, it's I mean, I would say hats off to you for being so brave to kind of take that decision at that time and be here. So thank you for sharing that with us. And now I'll move on to our immigrant series part, and I wanted to share with you some of the questions. One of the question actually that has been asked on the group, which is, we are a young family and relatively new to Canada. We are now looking to buy a new home in Mississauga and looking for absolutely any pointers to narrow down my search. But this
Mhm.
is just one question that's been asked, right? There are people who are joining our group every week, every day, and lots of people are like new immigrants and they're looking for home. So I wanted to ask you, based on your experience and you're in the profession, what are some of the things to consider while choosing a location to live, particularly in Greater Toronto area and Ontario?
Okay, that's a good question, and I think everybody goes through this, right? And I would say the truth is, trying to decide where to live in Canada will always create a paradox. I just wanted to clarify. The other provinces also have similar things to provide, and we live in Ontario. We means me and Neha, and therefore we'll be able to give you a better perspective and picture of Ontario. And that's our intention, to provide first-hand information through our experiences. We all know that internet is flooded with all sorts of information, and it is useful, but it's really to decide and pick which information is good. And when we were trying to search the province of Ontario to land during our PR process, everything was Greek and overwhelming. And we wanted to share our experiences on things to consider when choosing a location or a place to live in Ontario. So here we are. Now, it's not an easy answer, I would say, to this question. However, very few things that you need to jot down, prior to your research. And here's what I would do if I was in your position. In fact, we were in this position, right? And that's why we are talking about our through our experiences. So
Absolutely.
I would pose questions to myself. Do I like a city or urban environment? What is my qualification and experience? And then the following question would be the prospective employers. Where are they based?
Mhm.
And then, are you comfortable with the commute, or you want to stay closer to your work, close to public transportation or mobility? The other point is if you have kids, so is good school district your priority? Or are you looking for social and recreational activities?
Right.
The other thing is education system. Now it differs provincially in terms of the education. And if you're talking about a centralized education system, there are certain schools that provide the IB program.
Mhm.
And we will touch base with the education system in the later episodes. So this is again, of course, a deciding factor. And although I'm mentioning it in the last, but very important factor is the weather. So
Right.
it's something that is to be researched. So there are certain pockets which are the areas where it snows heavily and it's really cold. So you really have to think where you prefer to live. Also, another option is like we as immigrants, we think that living in big cities is sort of our go to goal, and that's where we get the jobs and all.
Mhm.
One very, very important factor which we have to consider is the citizens of Canada, like they are nearing their retirement. When they come to that juncture, they want to, move out or set towards the areas which are more peaceful because they want to spend their golden years in that area. And
Absolutely.
so they move into places where the population is like 15,000 or 20,000 people,
Right.
and they are like smaller cities, smaller towns. So it actually creates the more space and more opportunities in terms of jobs,
Mhm.
because now you need restaurant managers, you need servers, then the construction part as well. So engineers, carpenters, plumbers, everything, like you need. So think about that also, and just don't just think about staying in the big cities,
Right.
because it comes with its challenges, and then you are competing against then the pool of people, highly skilled professionals with the existing experience in the country.
Right, absolutely. I think these are great, great points. And I remember when I came to Canada when I got married in 2011, and at that time we had no kids, so we were okay living, in an apartment in downtown. But as soon as I had my first kid, we were like, okay, we need more space. But then I didn't know any realtor. We don't have any family here. We had few friends, but some of them were not even married. So we were like lost. We were completely dependent on internet to find out some information and be part of the forum. And um, I really feel that if at that time an episode like this was there, I mean, I feel many groups are there, but at least a forum or a platform where people could actually personally ask these type of questions would be so beneficial. So I personally feel, thank you so much for sharing these points. I think the point around the growing age of the population in Canada is again another thing that we would not think in general, right? Unless and until someone mentioned it to us. And also the whole point of, yes, you could go into a little bit far off location if you're okay with the commute, right? And also city is just not the only place where you would want to be in when you come and land in Canada. So definitely great insights on that. I would move on to my second question, which is a follow-up question of that what are some of the things to consider when someone is looking to buy their home?
So one thing just came to my mind, Neha, before we go ahead with
Yeah.
the second question. Um, with the COVID situation and the new thing that has been revealed that we are able to work from home.
Mhm.
So remote work is something which is possible. So then obviously, like, you can move out to outskirts and afford a home kind of thing. I'm a realtor, I would always think of that thing. So
Yeah,
yeah, that is something with 2020 that has come. So not necessarily that you have to stay in the city. You can live there, work remotely, and still have all the perks.
absolutely,
Right.
absolutely.
Coming to the second question, so the things that we need to consider when buying a house, well, it depends on each household, right? But there are a few basic things that I want to point out,
Mm-hmm.
and they are very important to consider when buying a house.
Mm-hmm.
First and foremost, like set your mortgage limit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you have to safeguard your lifestyle, your finances before you start shopping for a home.
Mm-hmm.
So take time to outline the budget.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think there is a thing that you can look at, the mortgage payment calculators,
Mm-hmm.
which are available. Almost every realtor has it on the website, and you can also check it on my website as well.
Okay.
You'll see how much you can afford and then spend on housing and housing related costs going forward.
Right.
Second point is, don't start house hunting until you have been pre-qualified or pre-approved,
Right.
right? Which is very important. You go start looking for house, you fall in love with something, and then later on you come to know that, oh, you don't qualify for that. So that's more heartbreaking.
Right. Right.
Yeah, third point would be like, you need a down payment.
Mm-hmm.
So it is the money that is saved, not the which is borrowed, right? So let's say if you want to have 5% down payment for a property, which is like for 300,000, roughly it will be 15,000.
Okay.
So then you need to start looking at, if you have RRSP kept, then you can probably withdraw the money out from there.
Right.
But uh, you cannot borrow that money. It's your money.
Right.
Okay, that is required.
And that is an important point to think, right?
Yes. Yeah. The fourth point I would say is the closing and the moving cost,
Mm-hmm.
generally, which are like 3% of your purchase price. So, and then those are the things that are considered in terms of moving, legal fees, property tax, adjustment fees, home insurance, all these things are there. So these are like, you don't come to know the actual cost unless until you are at the stage of closing.
Right.
Okay. So you have to keep at least 3 to 5% of the purchase price aside.
Right.
Then, of course, when you're moving, then you have to think about the furniture and other bells and whistles,
Mm-hmm.
right? You sometimes the furniture that you have stayed in with will not fit in, or like is smaller to now whichever place you have moved to. And the other point that you have to take care of about the maintenance and the repairs, which comes along, and it is like the added cost when you are buying your own house.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to always like keep it simple when you're figuring out how much of the mortgage you can afford. And I would say skip the temptation to supersize,
Mm-hmm.
because people tend to get attracted towards shiny objects, and then later on they are not able to afford it. They are not like, it's really hard because you have to keep 30% of your earnings for things which are for your day-to-day use, maybe your daycare cost, commute cost, and grocery bill, and all those things.
Right.
So, I mean, again, this is just in general, which is very important to consider. If you want a more personalized and complimentary consultation, you can always connect with me one on one, or visit my website, and you can get to know more in depth.
Yeah, no, thank you so much, Jyoti. I think it's really, really important. When we were buying our first house, we bought a condo in Mississauga. Uh, we actually did trips to the daycare from the house, from the condo to the daycare, and how long it takes,
Wow.
and trips to the go station. So if it was way above 10 minutes, we just said no. No to it, because we, like me and my husband, and like you mentioned, it's important to see the commute. We are people that we hate commute, and we were like, we just want minimum commute. It could be a smaller house, but then commute matters so much to us. And
Right.
also that fact that we have to be home by 6 o'clock max. We both are working, and we have to be home by 6 o'clock max to pick the kid, right? So
Mhm.
we also did that at for research. So I think these are some great key pointers. I hope this was helpful to many people on our group. And also I want to say a special thank for sharing your personal story with us today. It's not easy to share that, and honestly, I would just say it's incredible how you have dealt with it. It's really inspiring. It did touch my heart. I almost had like tears in my eyes when I just heard that. So I mean, honestly, hats off to you for being such a great mother, and having a profession on the side, be able to pursue your dreams, and be able to settle in a new country when you had a difficult situation to handle. So thank you again for your time and for sharing your insights. And thanks everyone for watching us today. This is our first episode, and I will be inviting more women who are experts in their field, and we will be talking about some of the key questions, important questions that are being asked on our group time and again. So if you have a topic that you would like us to cover, please comment or post in the group. And if you would like to participate in this video series, then also please reach out to me. And till then, you know what, just have tea with me or coffee or whatever you like, and keep safe. And we'll be connecting again soon with our second video. Thank you everyone. Thank you, Jyoti.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.